So, let's dive right into the heart of our topic today, which is understanding the basic process and ingredients needed to make homemade soda. Now, you might be thinking, homemade soda?
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Making your own soda is not only fun, but it also gives you the freedom to experiment with flavors and control what goes into your beverage. The base of any soda is carbonated water. You can either buy this or make it yourself using a soda siphon or a home carbonation machine. Now, to create the flavor for our soda, we'll need a sweetener and some flavorings. The sweetener is typically sugar, but you could also use honey, agave nectar, or even artificial sweeteners if you're watching your sugar intake. For the flavorings, you can go as simple or as complex as you want. You could use fruit juice, herbal teas, or even make your own syrups from fresh fruits and spices. The possibilities are truly endless.
Just remember, the key is to strike a balance between the sweetness and the acidity to create a refreshing and tasty soda.
Now, the basic process is quite simple. You start by making a syrup with your sweetener and flavorings. This is done by combining these ingredients in the saucepan and cooking them until the sugar is fully dissolved. Once your syrup is ready, you'll let it cool. Then mix it with your carbonated water. And voila! You've made your very own homemade soda. And remember, this is just the bare bones of the process. There's plenty of room for experimentation and customization. But we'll get to that later. For now, just keep in mind these basic steps and ingredients, and you'll be well on your way to making delicious homemade soda. All right, moving on. Let's talk about something that's the heart and soul of any soda, the fizz. Yes, we're going to learn how to properly carbonate your homemade soda for that desired fizziness. The fizz in soda is simply carbon dioxide gas dissolved in water under pressure, hence the term carbonated water. This process of carbonation is what gives soda its characteristic bubbles and tangy taste. Now, there are a few ways you can do this at home. One method is using a soda siphon or a home carbonation machine. These devices essentially force carbon dioxide into your water under pressure, creating those lovely little bubbles we all enjoy. It's a straightforward process, but it does require some equipment. Another method, which is a bit more hands-on, is the yeast method. This involves using a small amount of yeast to generate carbon dioxide. You mix the yeast with sugar and water, then leave it to ferment for a few days. The yeast consumes the sugar and produces carbon dioxide, which carbonates the water. This method can be a fun experiment, but be warned, it can be a bit unpredictable. It's hard to control the amount of carbonation, and if you're not careful, you might end up with a soda explosion.
But no matter the method you choose, the end goal is the same, to create a refreshing, fizzy beverage.
Remember, the level of carbonation is largely a matter of personal preference. Some people like their soda super fizzy, while others prefer just a hint of bubbles. So feel free to experiment until you find the level of fizziness that's perfect for you. All right, now that we've got the carbonation down, it's time for the really fun part, exploring various natural ingredients and flavorings you can use to customize your homemade soda. This is where you can really let your creativity shine.
And the beauty of making homemade soda is that you're in control.
You can choose exactly what goes into your beverage, which means you can avoid all those artificial flavors and sweeteners found in many commercial sodas. So, what can you use for flavor? Well, pretty much anything you want. Fresh fruit juices, herbal teas, and spices are all fantastic options. You can even make your own fruit or spice syrups. For instance, how about a refreshing lemon lime soda? Just squeeze some fresh lemon and lime juice.
Add some sugar and mix with your carbonated water.
Or maybe you're in the mood for a spicy ginger ale. You can make a simple syrup with fresh ginger and sugar, then mix it with your carbonated water. The possibilities are endless.
Herbs can also add a lovely twist to your homemade soda.
Mint, basil, lavender. These can all add a unique and refreshing flavor to your beverage. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can even experiment with vegetable juices. Cucumber soda, anyone?
Remember, the key is to experiment and find the combinations that you love.
Don't be afraid to try new things. After all, that's part of the fun of making your own soda. Who knows? You might just stumble upon your new favorite beverage. Moving on, let's discuss a crucial aspect of making homemade soda: understanding the importance of sanitation and proper storage. This may not be as exciting as experimenting with flavors, but believe me, it's equally important. When it comes to making anything at home that you plan to consume, cleanliness is key. You see, harmful bacteria or yeast can find their way into your soda if your equipment isn't clean, spoiling your hard work and potentially making you ill. So always ensure that your bottles, utensils, and any other equipment you use are thoroughly cleaned and sanitized. A quick tip: you can use a solution of 1 part distilled white vinegar to 5 parts water to sanitize your equipment. Just make sure to rinse thoroughly with clean water afterward.
Now let's talk about storage.
Once you've made your delicious homemade soda, you'll want to store it properly to maintain its flavor and fizz. Generally, you should store your soda in a cool, dark place. The refrigerator is usually your best bet, especially if your soda contains fresh fruit juice or other perishable ingredients. And remember, homemade soda doesn't contain preservatives like commercial sodas, so it won't last as long. A good rule of thumb is to consume it within 1 to 2 weeks. Lastly, always store your soda in a sealed container to preserve the carbonation. Glass bottles with a swing top or plastic bottles designed for carbonated beverages work best. So there you have it. Sanitation and storage might not be the most glamorous part of making homemade soda, but they're essential for ensuring your soda is safe to drink and stays delicious and fizzy for as long as possible. All right, we've reached the final piece of our homemade soda puzzle: gaining knowledge on how to make adjustments and experiment with different recipes to perfect your soda. This is where you take all the knowledge we've discussed so far and start to really make it your own. Making homemade soda isn't an exact science, and that's part of the fun. You get to adjust, tweak, and play around with your recipe until you find your perfect match. Maybe you like your soda a bit sweeter, or perhaps you prefer a stronger flavor. You get to decide. The key here is to start with small adjustments. If you're finding your soda a little too tart, add a bit more sweetener next time. Or, if the flavor isn't strong enough, try adding more of your flavoring ingredient, or letting your syrup simmer a bit longer to concentrate the flavors.
And don't be afraid to experiment with entirely new flavors.
Have you ever tried a rosemary and grapefruit soda? Or how about a spicy jalapeno and lime soda for those who like a little kick? The possibilities are really only limited by your imagination and your taste buds. Remember, the goal is to create a soda that you love, so don't be disheartened if your first few attempts aren't perfect. Each batch is a learning experience and an opportunity to refine your recipe. So keep experimenting, keep adjusting, and most importantly, keep having fun with it. Because at the end of the day, that's what making homemade soda is all about.